love each other and wish to live out their lives together. But sometimes those marriages leave others raising their eyebrows. Here are some of the most inappropriate marriages ever. Sunil Masalela and Helen Shabanu. Sunil Masalela and his family paid £500 to Helen Shabanu's family to allow him to become her husband. During a ceremony in Xuan, South Africa, 100 guests gathered to witness the couple's white wedding. The only issue? Sunil was only 8 years old and his new wife was 61 and a mother of 5. The young schoolboy exchanged rings with his older bride at the request of his grandfather, who had passed away years prior. Sunil said his grandfather contacted him and asked him to marry, so he chose his family friend Helen because he already loved her. The wedding is not legally binding as Helen is already married and the new couple do not live together. Sunil says his ancestors are happy and that's all that matters to him. Liu Yi and himself. On January 1, 2007, a 39-year-old man from Zhuhai City, China, decided to marry himself in a traditional ceremony. More than 100 bewildered guests and locals gathered for the ceremony in the courtyard of the Yanxiao village. He arranged for a bridesmaid and a groomsman to be present as he and a full-sized foam cutout of himself in a red bridal dress walked down the aisle and received blessings. Liu Yi insists he is not gay, just narcissistic, and that there were many factors in his decision to go through with the marriage to himself. Sal 9000 and Nene Anagasaki. In Tokyo, Japan, a 27-year-old man who would only identify himself as Sal 9000 to the public decided he wanted to get married. He had found the girl he loved and was determined to make her his bride. After a 2-month courtship, Sal married Nene Anagasaki in November 2009 during a ceremony in Guam, viewed by thousands online, all while wearing a white tuxedo. However, the marriage was not legally binding because Nene is a digital character from the Nintendo DS game Love Plus, a virtual dating simulator. While he says he understands that it's a game and he can't legally marry Nene, he says she's much better than any human girl could be. Ahmed Muhammad Dor and Safia Abdullah. In a small village in Somalia, Ahmed Muhammad Dor already has 5 wives, 3 of who have already passed away. At the age of 112 years old, he wed 17-year-old Safia Abdullah. The bride's family say they're happy with the marriage. Despite the 95-year age gap, Dor also says he wishes to have children with his newest wife as well. The village, called Gurasil, has not seen a marriage like this in more than a century. Bimbala Das and a snake. In late May of 2006, a 30-year-old Hindu woman from the Atla village of the Orissa's Kurda district married her true love. In the presence of over 2,000 people, Bimbala Das was wed, as per traditional Hindu rituals, to a snake. The king cobra lived in a hill near the village. According to Bimbala's mother, the girl had been ill, but when she began offering milk to the snake, she was cured. Bimbala says that she is in love with the cobra and it has never bitten her or acted aggressively. Villagers believe that the union will bring good fortune to the community. Magali Yaskevich and Jonathan George. In France, a young couple planned to marry in November of 2008. However, their plans were derailed when Jonathan George, the groom, was killed in an accident just before the wedding. 32-year-old Magali Yaskevich still wished to be Mrs. George and discovered a little-known civil law to go through with the marriage. In France, posthumous marriages are considered legally binding if all preparations were made in place prior to the death of one's spouse. She provided the proof of all preparations, including the date and the dress she planned to wear, so the wedding was allowed to proceed. Magali walked into town hall a year later and the ceremony was held in front of 30 guests.